Tuesdays with Morrie by Mitch Albom is a deeply moving memoir that tells the true story of the author's relationship with his former sociology professor, Morrie Schwartz, and the life lessons he learned from him. Albom reconnects with Morrie in the final months of the professor's life as he battles amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, ALS, also known as Lou Gehrig's disease. Over a series of 14 Tuesdays, Mitch visits Morrie in his home, and the two engage in discussions about life, love, work, aging, death, and forgiveness. The result is a poignant and philosophical reflection on what it means to live a meaningful life. Mitch Albom and his first encounter with Morrie. The story begins with Mitch Albom recalling his time as a student at Brandeis University in the 1970s. During his time at the university, Mitch forms a close bond with his sociology professor, Morrie Schwartz. Morrie is not just a teacher to Mitch. He becomes a mentor, someone Mitch looks up to for his wisdom and unique perspective on life. Morrie is lively and passionate and encourages his students to think deeply about the world around them. At Mitch's graduation, Morrie asks him to keep in touch, and Mitch promises he will. However, like many promises made in youth, this one falls by the wayside. Mitch moves to New York, chasing a career in journalism. Over the next decade and a half, he becomes a successful sports writer, caught up in the fast-paced world of fame, money, and achievement. He loses touch with Morrie and becomes consumed by the materialistic culture that Morrie had always warned against. Mitch's life becomes a cycle of constant work, ambition, and distractions, leaving little room for deeper reflection on the meaning of life or fulfillment. Morrie's diagnosis and the reconnection. Morrie Schwartz, now in his 70s, is diagnosed with ALS, a degenerative disease that slowly robs him of his physical abilities. Despite the devastating nature of the disease, Morrie decides to approach his death as he approaches his life, with curiosity, openness, and a desire to learn and teach others about the human experience. He begins to share his thoughts and feelings about dying with others, and this culminates in an interview with Ted Koppel on ABC's Nightline. It is through this television program that Mitch, who has not spoken to Morrie in 16 years, learns about his old professor's condition. Seeing Morrie on TV reminds Mitch of the deep connection they once shared, and he feels compelled to reach out. He flies to Boston to visit Morrie, intending it to be a one-time meeting. However, this visit became the beginning of a series of weekly meetings, each one held on a Tuesday, a day that was significant for Mitch and Morrie during his college years. The first Tuesday, the meaning of life. During their first meeting, Morrie is already in the advanced stages of ALS, but his mind remains sharp. He and Mitch agree to meet every Tuesday, just as they used to back in college. Morrie tells Mitch that he wants to spend his final days teaching, not in a classroom, but by imparting lessons about life to Mitch, who he sees as his last student. The idea is to create a living final thesis, where they will discuss the big topics of life that Mitch has overlooked in his busy career-driven life. Morrie's house becomes a sanctuary for these discussions. As his body weakens, his spirit seems to grow stronger. He insists that he does not fear death, but views it as a natural part of life. On 14 Tuesdays, they talk about death, love, marriage, family, work, and forgiveness. Morrie's insights are profound yet simple, and they resonate deeply with Mitch, who begins to reevaluate his priorities and lifestyle. The second Tuesday, feeling sorry for yourself. In their second conversation, Morrie opens up about the emotional toll of ALS. He admits that there are moments when he feels sorry for himself, particularly in the mornings when he first wakes up and realizes how much of his physical abilities he has lost. But Morrie quickly points out that he does not allow himself to dwell on these feelings for long. Instead, he focuses on the good things in his life, his family, his friendships, and the opportunity to impart wisdom to others. Mitch is struck by Morrie's ability to maintain a positive outlook despite his debilitating condition. Morrie's refusal to be consumed by self-pity becomes one of the central lessons Mitch takes away from their meetings, that even in the face of great suffering, one can find moments of grace and gratitude. The third Tuesday, regrets. On the third Tuesday, Morrie and Mitch discuss regrets. Morrie tells Mitch that too many people live their lives filled with regrets, often because they live according to the expectations of others rather than pursuing their own passions and desires. Morrie encourages Mitch to take stock of his life and ask himself if he is truly happy with the path he has chosen. Morrie believes that people can live more authentically by acknowledging one's mortality, with fewer regrets. This conversation causes Mitch to reflect on the choices he has made, particularly his decision to prioritize his career over his personal relationships. He begins to see how he has neglected his own happiness in pursuit of professional success, and he becomes more open to the idea of making changes in his life. The fourth and fifth Tuesdays, death and family. In the next few Tuesdays, Morrie delves into the topic of death, one of the book's central themes. Morrie believes that people should not shy away from discussing death. Instead, they should accept it as an inevitable part of life. He tells Mitch that by accepting death, one can learn how to live better. Morrie sees death as a teacher, helping people focus on what truly matters. They also discuss the importance of family, which Morrie sees as the cornerstone of a meaningful life. He emphasizes that love and connection with family members are more important than any professional achievement or material wealth. Morrie himself draws strength from his close relationships with his wife, Charlotte, and his children. He teaches Mitch that family provides a sense of belonging and purpose that cannot be replaced by success or fame. The sixth and seventh Tuesdays, emotions and the fear of aging. On the sixth Tuesday, Morrie encourages Mitch to fully embrace his emotions, whether positive or negative. Morrie believes that allowing oneself to feel deeply can help one better understand and process those emotions, leading to a more authentic and fulfilling life. He advises Mitch to stop suppressing his feelings and to become more emotionally open, particularly in his relationships. The seventh Tuesday brings a discussion about aging. Morrie, now in the final stages of ALS, reflects on how people in society often fear growing old because they associate it with weakness, irrelevance, and loss. However, Morrie sees aging as a natural process that brings wisdom and a deeper appreciation for life. He tells Mitch that instead of fearing aging, people should embrace it, as each stage of life has its own unique value. The eighth and ninth Tuesdays, money and love. As Mitch continues to meet with Morrie, he begins to see how different his values are from those of his mentor. On the eighth Tuesday, they discuss society's obsession with money and material possessions. Morrie argues that chasing wealth and status will not bring happiness or fulfillment. Instead, he believes love, compassion, and human connection are the keys to a meaningful life. In the ninth session, they expand on the theme of love, discussing the importance of giving and receiving love. Morrie stresses that love is the only thing that can bring true fulfillment, and that without love, people are empty. Mitch starts to realize that his own life has been lacking in deep, meaningful relationships, and he begins to see the value of love over material success. The final Tuesdays, forgiveness, marriage, and saying goodbye. As Morrie's health declines, the conversations become more urgent. On the 10th Tuesday, they talk about forgiveness. Morrie emphasizes the importance of forgiving others and oneself. He shares personal stories of regrets about holding on to grudges and encourages Mitch not to wait too long to seek forgiveness or make amends with those he loves. During the 11th and 12th Tuesdays, Morrie reflects on marriage, a topic he feels strongly about. He and Mitch discuss the difficulties of maintaining a long-term relationship, but Morrie believes love and commitment are worth the challenges. He offers advice on how to sustain a loving marriage, pointing to his own relationship with his wife, Charlotte, as an example. The 13th and 14th Tuesdays are the most emotional, As Mitch and Morrie both know that their time together is coming to an end. Morrie is now bedridden, and his body is failing, but his mind remains sharp. On their final Tuesday, Morrie tells Mitch that he will die soon, and they share a tearful goodbye. Mitch, who had once been emotionally distant, embraces Morrie and tells him how much he has meant to him. Morrie's death and Mitch's transformation. Morrie dies a few days after their final meeting. Mitch attends the funeral and reflects on how much Morrie has changed his life. Through their conversations, Mitch has begun reevaluating his priorities, reconnecting with his family, and seeking more meaningful relationships. He learns that true happiness and fulfillment come not from professional success or material wealth, but from love, compassion, and human connection. In the end, Tuesdays with Morrie is a book about life, death, and everything in between. It offers timeless lessons on how to live a meaningful, fulfilling life, even in the face of hardship. Mitch Albom's journey with Morrie Schwartz serves as a powerful reminder that the most important things in life are not the accolades or achievements we accumulate, but the relationships we build and the love we share. Through Morrie's wisdom, Mitch and the reader learns that death is not something to be feared, but rather a teacher that helps us understand how to live truly.